The first one we are targeting is working on the rectangle data. We are going to the folder number 2, rectangle. R stands for rectangle. Inside here, there are 3 options we are going to go through. So let's go for the first one, transpose and remove blanks. Let's click, let's open. So now you don't need to open the file. Let me open. I have a customer order version 1, version 2, version 3. Let me show you the data on the screen. You don't need to open because when you open, you forget to close. When Power Query attempt to load the data, the file is locked. It will not able to go through. Let me open customer order version 1. Inside customer order version 1, what do you notice something strange about this data? Yeah, just customer item quantity, customer item quantity, customer item quantity. It goes in the different direction, right? It's supposed to be vertical. So I want to turn this is a horizontal data. I want to make it vertical. In Excel, it has wording called transpose. Very good. So we're going to learn how we're able to transpose the data. And because this is another Excel file, can we straight away transpose here? Yes or no? The answer, no, because keep raw data raw. Anything we want to do, we do it inside Power Query. We don't do it directly on the file unless we desperate. Normally, if let's say we want to maintain something repeatable, we do everything inside Power Query. So this is version 1. So let me close and let me show you the version 2. The slight difference between version 1 and version 2 because it has extra blank rows. So they are exactly the same data, only the numbers has changed. Just now we mentioned there are 3 big concepts. The first one is called repeatable, scalable, and one more is called maintainable. And we are going to experiment. What if the version 1 data, and before we go to version 2, how can we do some adjustment so that the Power Query able to recognize the same data? Just removing additional column or blank rows in between them. So we want to do this one. So this version 2. Version 3 will have additional blank column. So how can we do small adjustment so that it's able to reuse it again for version 3? So version 1, version 2, version 3. Okay, so let's do this together. Because we want to keep the data outside, so therefore we need to open a blank Excel file. Let's go to a blank Excel file. So this is a blank Excel file. So I'm going to load, these are the Excel file. So we go to data. Going towards the left side, there's something called get data. From file, from Excel workbook. Click on from Excel workbook. It will ask you where is the file. So what you need to do is go to your exercise folder and browse to the folder number 2, customer order version 1. Once you have a customer order version 1, because this is an Excel file may have more than one worksheet. It will ask us which worksheet we are looking for. You see this? Yep. So I click on the customer order and it will show how the data looks like on the right side. Let's see what are the things inside here. The one on the gray row is the header. Is this correct? First row is one part of the header, it's part of the data. It should be part of the data, right? It's part of data. So it's something we need to do adjustment. Whenever we are using Power Query, any adjustment we need to do on the data, we click on Transform Data. Transform Data. Sometimes the wording may change, and previously it has something called Edit, Transform, Edit Data, and so on. So whatever name it changes, it's just between load and cancel. The wording might change. We have no idea. So just click transform on the button in between load and cancel. And let's load forward, and it will bring us to Power Query Editor. So now you can see the first row is part of the header now. On the right side, click one step above the last one, second last step. You see the header still on the top? Yep. So click one step above again, go to navigation. Do you see the header is part of the data, the white color background? Yep. So that means the last two steps we don't need for the time being. Instead of delete one by one, sometimes we have many steps. We want to clear them or want to remove them. You can just right click. Maybe let's right click on promoted headers. And you will see there's an option say delete until end. And because delete until end, it will ask for confirmation. Hey, are you sure you want to delete until end? So we just say delete, or you can just press enter. You can see the remaining step has been gone. So with this, I want to transpose from horizontal to make it vertical. So I can go to transform ribbon. Just right underneath the wording transform, you see the option say transpose. Yes, click on transpose, and now everything becomes vertical. And let's go here. Customer item quantity is the first row part of the header. Yes or no? Yeah, it's a header. Instead of changing the name one by one, we can ask Power Query, hey, use the first row as header. So there are two ways we can able to achieve this. The first one, we can go to transform. Second button from the left, you will see use first row as header. So this is first option. Second option, you can see there's a small button. I call it this mini transform. Click on this one and use first row as headers. So see which one works for you lah. Either way is to get the result. So let's use first row as header. So now we have a customer, item, and quantity. The quantity, all of the numbers, they are only 2 digits. They are lesser than 100. So we are happy. I want to bring this result back to Excel. Go to home, close, and load. Got it? Okay. So now we are able to bring the data here. And sometimes our data sources may change. Maybe from version 1 to version 2. For example, quarter 1 to quarter 2, quarter 3, and so on. So the data file might change. The structure is rather similar. So now I want to go back and start adjusting the source. So go back to Power Query, use whichever methods that you prefer. At the right side, you see the wording source in the apply steps. Double click on the source or click on the gear icon. Then it will show you where is your source file. Then go until the end. Because they are exactly on the same location, our row is only changing number 1 to number 2, and the rest remains the same. Changing V1 to V2. So after we changing the source, you can click OK or press Enter. So you can see the first one is still the same. So after we changing the source, now we want to see the impact on individual step. Let's click on the next one. It says navigation. Click. This is the data, how the data looks like. Do you notice there's a lot of now in between them? Now it means blank inside Excel. In Excel, we just see something called blank. Inside here is called now. Now means blank in the database. Because this one, Power Query, uses the behavior like database. So it's now. So there are a few ways I need to remove the now, the blank. So there are a few ways. Let's do this together. So we want to insert the step in between them. We're going to insert a step in between them. So let's do the first step. First step, we can just click one of the column for the filter, just like normal Excel with filter. Use the now here. Yeah, untick on the now and press enter or click OK. Then you ask us, this one, it doesn't ask. Okay, it just added. Okay, good. Sometimes you ask because we add a step in between them. So this one, it doesn't ask. So that's good. So you can see this one is done. And if I continue, click on the transpose table. So I just go to vertical and I use first row as header and change type. Everything is worked correctly. So this was the first method using filter. Really? Filter can. So now I want to remove the filtered rows. Let's remove filtered rows. And you ask for confirmation for such deletion. Press enter to confirm. Let's click on the navigation. Just now we are using filter to remove blank rows. Now we go back to navigation. I want to add a step after navigation. The second method is we go to home. You will see in the middle, remove rows. You see remove blank rows? Yeah, choose remove blank rows. And because we are attempt to add the step in between existing steps, so we ask for confirmation. So we just say insert or you can just press enter. You get the same result. The blank's gone. And now we want to double check and click on the next step. Transpose, it becomes vertical, and promote headers and change type. Got it? And you'll notice now the number or the quantity is greater than 100, but they are lesser than 1000. Just now it was lesser than 100. So that means the data has changed. How can I bring this data back to Excel? Close and load. Thank you. So you can see small adjustment, we are able to make it work again. So this is for version 2 data. Good. So now we want to add on version 3 data. I want to change from version 2 to version 3. How can I go back to Power Query Edit? Okay, go to data. Get data. Launch Power Query Editor. Thank you. So now we're back here. Let's go to the source. And we want to change the source from version 2 to version 3. Yes. You can double click on the wording source or you can click on the gear icon on the side so that it will change the source. Okay. I have just changed the wording number 2 to number 3. So in some situation, you may need to browse to another location because this is in exactly the same location. So we don't need to browse. Enter. After we do any changes on the source, it's a good practice. We go through step by step from top to bottom. So let's go for next one, navigation. Still okay, and then we remove blanks. Okay, but there are blank columns in between them here. Should I remove the blank column now or later? That is a quite tricky question. Some people may say now, some people may say later. My recommendation is later because the blank column may not be always there. May not always there. And Power Query uses the column header name. If now I have column 4, column 5, next time I change from version 3 back to version 1, whenever it doesn't able to find this column, it will crash. So therefore, I don't want to do it here because it will lock by the header name. Yes, after transpose, you notice the column becomes rows. So now we remove the blank rows. So we always aim on the row level. So now I can just using the method. There are two methods, either using filter or using remove blank rows. See whichever works best for you. After you've done so, and promote headers. Got it? And then when you go to the last one, change type, you'll notice there's error. Why? Go one step before change type. What was the value before error? New. NEW. Whenever Power Query is quite sensitive about the data type, whenever it's unable to change the NEW to a number, it will give us error. If we bring this back to Excel, it becomes blank. Sometimes we don't want to have this one, we want to show 0 instead. Right click on the quantity, and you will see there's an option says replace errors. Replace errors, and we want to replace with 0. Just type number 0 and press enter. And you observe, before I press enter, you observe on the top, mine has a red color with a gray dotted something like a green line. Yours should be all green because mine has partially error. When I press enter, you notice this one changes to green. It shows everything is correct. So this is how we have a quick glance how the data looks like. So now we have a data, you will notice the number, all the numbers are greater than 1000. So I'm happy with the result. Close and load. Let's wait for a while for it to refresh. As a recap, from version 1, I have no blank rows. Everything works fine. Version 2, it has certain blank rows. Do we manage to handle this one? And version 3 has blank rows and blank column. When we transpose, we are able to keep everything as a row. We remove the blank rows. So all this one from top to bottom, it works, right? So now, if let's say I change the source from version 3 back to version 1, will it work? Yes or no? Yes, so-called a good maintainability or maintainable, it should be able to work for all variations. Yep. So that means sometimes I have old data format and new data format. By doing something, a small tweak is able to handle all. So it makes the thing very, very robust. Yes, so this is about using the transpose.